Hello, good morning everyone. So let's begin today's current affairs session. Okay, today it is 20th of November 2019, 2025. Okay. Okay, in 20th of November 2025, in the Hindu, there are various articles which you must remember, okay, and which you must read for civil services examination, okay. I'm very selective in choosing articles from the Hindu. Reason being that too many articles in the newspaper. If I select all of them, you'll be in a kind of difficulty. And there is no need to read everything in the newspaper. Everything that comes into the news doesn't mean that it is important for civil services examination. Okay. So I have selected again 7 to 8 articles from today's The Hindu newspaper. Okay. One is that India has decided to reduce dependence on Russia. Dependence on Russia for oil imports. Okay, because over dependence on one person, one entity, one country may lead us into difficult situations. That's why we need to reduce the dependence. Okay, this is point number 1. Okay, this is the first article. Then I have also got an article on environmental impact assessment and environment protection rules. This is editorial in light of what I told you yesterday, that Supreme Court has, withdrawn or withheld the decision which allowed retrospective environmental clearances. So yesterday I have told you the basics. What is retrospective environmental clearance? Today I will tell you that how retrospective environmental clearance is challenged, because it has been today discussed in Indian Express, in the editorial of the Hindu. Okay, then Tribunal Reforms Act, one act which was passed in 2022. Supreme Court has withheld this act also. Some provisions have been withheld. Tribunal Reforms Act of 2021. I will discuss what are tribunals and why Tribunal Reforms Act has been withheld. Okay. Then I will also discuss few important aspects in related to natural farming, which is very, very important for your agriculture purpose. Okay. Natural farming, in which I will also discuss zero budget natural farming, and when this natural farming first of all came into discussion, and why it came into discussion, and what is its importance for agriculture and environmental. It is basically related to sustainable environment. Okay. Then child care economy. There was a question also in mains last year, what is care economy and how the child care sector is suffering. Okay, mainly child care. What needs to be done in child care sector? This is also very, very important news. Okay. Then I will also discuss important aspects in related to democratic socialism. Democratic socialism. This will be in light of the recent victory of New York Mayor-elect Zoran Mamdani. Okay, Zoran Mamdani, the New York Mayor-elect. In light of that, I will discuss democratic socialism, and then I will also discuss one more important article, that is presidential reference. Okay, timelines for governors. Okay, I will discuss presidential reference and timelines for governors. Timelines for governors, because direction of Supreme Court is put for review, where Supreme Court has fixed timeline for governors to act on laws passed by state legislature. Okay, so these are the major articles, and if time permits, I will also discuss drug resistance in various antibiotics in India. Okay, so if time does not permit, this is a small topic and it has been beautifully written in the notes, so you may take it from the notes also. Okay, now let us start. The first thing which I want to discuss with you people is basically the dependence of India on Russian imports and how we are trying to reduce that. why it is important to understand, because recently we have seen our imports from Russia are declining. Overall imports are increasing, but imports particularly from Russia are declining. Now people say this is in light of the Trump's tariffs, which he has imposed on India and various other countries. India was imposed additional 25% tariffs for imports from Russia. Okay, but Indian government agencies defy the argument. They say no, it is not in reply to Trump's tariffs, because we have been doing it before also. For 6 months before Trump's tariffs were announced, we have started the policy of reducing our dependence on Russian oil imports. Okay, so India's the title is India's first page article, India's dependence on Russian imports. Few figures, facts and figures which you must remember also, but it is not a game of data, as I have already told you. Only you have what you have to remember. You have to remember majorly those data which are important. Trends are broadly very important. Okay, oil imports from Russia in 2025 were lower in value as well as in volume as compared to 2024. Okay, imports from Russia lower in value. Value means what is the bill of which we are paying for those imports in terms of import bill, and lower in volume, what amount of imports we are doing. Okay, in value they were reduced 29% reduction. Okay, and in volume 17% reduction. Okay, so is it a response to Trump's tariffs? The answer is no. Why? Because we were doing this before even the Trump tariffs were announced. Okay, but this is a strategic move from India. Strategic move of India, which is basically reducing import. Yesterday I told you we must diversify our routes of import and export. We must rationalize our trade policy. Okay, so it is basically a strategic move to reduce dependence on single trade partner. Single trade partner means we want more trade partners as of now. Okay, also it is not only that we have reduced imports from Russia. What else we have done? We have increased our imports from USA as well as UAE. In this strategic move, there is increase in imports from USA and UAE. Okay, means we are opening alternate routes for what? For the purpose of our import dependence. Clear? Now, it has been said that not only in the month of after September, when the Trump tariffs came into force, we have done 6 months prior to Trump tariffs, which came in force in September 2025. 6 months prior, we have witnessed average 20% reduction on imports from Russia. Okay. Now, it means that not only the Trump's tariffs were responsible for this strategic move, there is basically national interests and which are outside the international pressure. It is not in international pressure that we are doing this. It is for the national interest that we are doing this. We are diversifying our resources also. Okay, like in 2022, we have basically imported 9.2% from UAE. 9.2% imports were from UAE. But this is 2021-22 data. And from USA also we have slightly better, that is 12.4% of oil imports. 12.4% of oil imports. I am precisely talking about oil imports because oil is the major commodity which we import from Russia. Clear? Now, consistently, why Trump got agitated when we were already in 2021 and 2022? We were importing oil from USA, from UAE. Why Trump got agitated? Because this has declined to approximately around 4% in 2024-2025. Means we were consistently increasing imports from Russia and we were decreasing imports from UAE, from USA. Okay, and then also 4% from UAE and approximately to around 8 to 9% from USA. Datas are not important. What is important to note that our declines of imports from USA, UAE were declining and our oil imports from Russia were increasing. That's why we started to revamp our strategy. So yesterday I told you that our trade strategy must be rationalized. So this is one example of rationalization of trade strategy. Rationalization of trade policy. Okay. So this is the first article which was on the first page. So I have given you details about it. Now when you read it, it will be very easy for you to understand. Okay. Now the second news article which I have taken is also from first page. It is this Tribunal Reforms Act 2021. Tribunal Reforms Act of 2021, which has been withheld by Supreme Court. Withheld or struck down. Okay. Why it has been struck down? First of all, what are tribunals? Tribunals are basically judicial bodies in which executives are posted. So that's why we call them, they are basically quasi-judicial bodies. Quasi-judicial bodies. To adjudicate on certain matters like water disputes, interstate water disputes. For interstate water disputes, we set up water tribunals. Okay. Now, Tribunal Reforms Act was passed in 2000. And first of all, the basics about Tribunal Reforms Act. Tribunal Reforms Act was passed in 2021. It was the legislation which gave legislature ample powers for which purpose? For appointment process, functioning and determination of salaries. It gave powers to executive, that is Parliament, ministers, Council of Ministers. It gave powers to executive regarding three things: appointments, functioning and determination of salaries. Now, here I want you to get introduced to a basic concept of separation of powers. Okay, please understand what is separation of powers. Government in any country has three organs. One is called legislature, another one is called as executive, and the third one is judiciary. Okay. Legislature is the organ responsible for making laws and includes members of state legislatures as well as members of parliament only as members. When they become ministers, they take the role of executive because they are now responsible for execution of policies along with bureaucrats. Okay. So executive is responsible for execution of policies or implementation of policies. Legislature is responsible for law making purpose, and judiciary is to check whether any law made out of the preview or law is being violated or fundamental rights of the citizen. So judiciary is the watchdog of executive and legislature. So when judiciary is the watchdog, it must be completely kept independent of executive and legislature. So therefore, there comes the doctrine of separation of powers. If it is from United States of America, so much separation of powers that judiciary even do not give opinion to legislature in United States of America. In India, I will tell you that in presidential references, when president refers any matter to judiciary for opinion, judiciary gives the opinion, definitely. But in America, Supreme Court, the apex court in America does not even give the opinion to legislature. So much separation of powers. So why then executive is trying to interfere in appointments, functioning and determination of salaries of the tribunals, which are actually bodies which have to function as judicial bodies. Therefore, this provision has been struck down by the government of India, by Supreme Court of India under Chief Justice Justice Gawai. Okay, now important point to note here is that what are the points due to which this judgment, due to which these provisions have been struck down. The main points which have been highlighted by Justice Gawai are points of contention. Points of contention. Points of contention. There are few points of contention due to which these are, these points, this judgment has been struck, this Tribunals Act has been struck down. The points of contention are, first one, it is against the principle of separation of powers. Okay. Second one, it is against the power, or it is against the principle of independence and independence of judiciary. Unless you keep judiciary independent, unless you give full independence to judiciary, you will not expect partiality from judiciary. Okay. Then the third point is that it is against the bedrock principles of, it is a threat on constitutional values. It is a threat to constitutional framework. These are the issues, these are the points for which it has been criticized. Okay. Then also it has been criticized for legislative and executive overreach. Executive overreach means into the domain of judiciary, why legislature and executive are peeping, why executive and legislature are peeping in. Get the point? Okay. Now before this Tribunal Reforms Act, there was an ordinance that is called as Tribunal Reforms Ordinance, which was again struck down by Supreme Court. Okay, now government brought that ordinance in the form of act. So Supreme Court also criticized that it is merely a repackaged version of Tribunal Reforms Ordinance. Okay, struck down because it is considered as merely a repackaged version of Tribunal Reforms Ordinance. Tribunal Reforms Ordinance. That's why it was struck down. It was merely a repackaged version of Tribunal Reforms Ordinance. Okay, so legislative overreach or legislative overriding has been stated. Okay, now did judiciary take a suo motu cognizance by itself, or some petition was filed in this regard? There was a petition from Madras Bar Association in this regard, and that's why on that petition Supreme Court has basically, there is Congress leader Jairam Ramesh who is heading the Madras Bar Association. Okay, Madras Bar Association challenged this Tribunal Reforms Act, and hence Tribunal Reforms Act has been set aside by judiciary. Okay, now this is all. And moreover, there was one criticism that it is passed without proper parliamentary debate. The act was passed without proper debate, okay, in the parliament, without proper discussion in the parliament. But this is an allegation of the Madras Bar Association. Is it true or not? why do we need to see that? Because already it has been, the provision has been already struck down, so we need not to see that even. Okay, so this is all you need to understand about the second article, that is related to Tribunal Reform Act. Okay, now article number 3, very, very important article. Okay, India's vision for natural farming. This is an editorial which has been focused in the Hindu. Okay, focused on natural farming. What is natural farming? Natural farming is a strategy that encourages farming in the natural state. Farming in natural state. Why? Now, what natural state means? Natural state means you will not use any pesticides, you will not use any chemical fertilizers. All you will do is you will revive the soil microbes. You will use at the max cow dung and other manure, just to bring in only the cost of fertilizers down, cost of production, cost of agriculture must come will come down only when we will introduce the natural farming. Okay, it has been emphasized that natural farming has been a traditional practice in India. We have considered Mother Earth as a reverable thing. We have been respecting and worshipping Mother Earth, but due to chemical fertilizers, we have been harming Mother Earth. That's why natural farming has been brought into place. Okay, it is basically an alternative to fertilizer-based farming. Okay, now in 2005, we introduced one technique that is called as zero budget natural farming, ZBNF. Zero budget natural farming. Why it is called zero budget? Means we will not spend anything on zero expense on fertilizers slash chemical pesticides. Okay, now this was also focused in 2021-22 budget. Now these are the statements which make very valuable your mains answers. Your mains answers become so much valuable. Okay, now also why it is called zero budget? Because cost of inputs for production reduces by 50%, 40 to 50% in natural farmings. How cost of inputs reduce? Because now you don't need any chemical fertilizers. Dependence on chemical fertilizers will significantly reduce. Get the point? So this is natural farming. In natural farming, you have to understand one more important thing. Niti Aayog says that it is chemical-free traditional farming method. As per the definition of Niti Aayog, natural farming means a chemical-free traditional farming method. Okay. Now, in traditional farming method, traditionally, we have been using few things in past to improve the agricultural yield. Okay, what are those things which we use? On-farm inputs. We need to generate on-farm inputs. Whatever inputs we will generate them on farm. We will not go to factories and buy pesticides and fertilizers. On-farm inputs will be generated. Okay, what are those on-farm inputs? As pesticides, we will use neem, and we call in traditional language that neemastra. Okay, neemastra. Okay, then we will use these microbes, jivastra. Jivastra means we will generate the naturally present microbes in the soil to regain its fertility. We will increase seed Jivastra or Jeev Amrit. It is also called Jeev Amrit. We will also use seeds which will be developed by the farmers, high quality seeds, and that we will call as Bij Amrit. We will use better storage techniques. We will use better domestic treatment to seeds so that they can give us great results. Bij Amrit. At the max, what we will what we will use basically, we will use cow dung, cow urine, jaggery, gram flour, these things to introduce, to improve the quality of seeds. Cow dung, cow urine, jaggery, and also gram flour, chane ka aata, gram flour. Okay, we will use these things to improve the soil salinity. Okay, and because of this, we will be able to grow diverse different types of crops. Okay, so crop diversification will also be improved. Okay, now what are the components? What are the components of natural farming? I told you we have basically to bring these things: Jeevamrit, Bijamrit, Neemastra, etc., etc. Okay, so these will be used for the purpose of natural farming in our country. Okay, is there any mission or is there any initiative of Government of India regarding this natural farming? Certainly yes, there is one initiative that is called as National Mission for Promotion of Natural Farming. Okay, which mission is in India is there? National Mission on Natural Farming, NNMF. National Mission on Natural Farming. National Mission on Natural Farming. Natural farming. We have this mission in India going on. What is the target under this mission? Under this mission, we want 7.5 lakh hectares of land to be into under natural farming. 7.5 lakh hectares benefiting approximately 1 crore farmers. 7.5 lakh hectares of land to be brought under natural farming. This is basically the mission of National Mission. It was started in 2024. Okay, National Mission on Natural Farming 2024, and this is why it is very, very important. Okay, so one more target, that around 10,000 need-based bio input resource centers. Means bio inputs means biofertilizers. Also 10,000 bio input resource centers are to be made. Okay, point number A, objective 1. Point number B, target B. And one more target of this National Mission on Natural Farming is that we need to bring the land under 15,000 clusters. Okay, across 15,000 clusters. Natural farming to be promoted. So these are the objectives of National Mission for natural farming. You must remember it. Okay. Then earlier schemes were also there, like Parampragat Krishi Vikas Yojana, Traditional Agriculture Development Scheme, and also Bharatiya Prakritik Krishi Paddhati. Okay, so there were two earlier schemes, that is Parampragat Krishi Vikas Yojana and Bharatiya Prakritik Krishi Paddhati. Please remember these two. These were also the initiatives to promote natural farming. Okay, now why it has been in news recently? It has been in news that how India is trying to bring this natural farming, and what are the objectives of promotion of natural farming? What are the objectives? Objectives are, number 1, improve the soil health, because soil health is consistently deteriorating. Reduce dependence on chemical fertilizers, because huge chunk of funds go for subsidized fertilizers. And recently the Red Fort incident has highlighted that chemical fertilizers are also diverted for other uses. Okay, now they have been used in the terror attacks also. Okay, then also One more objective is basically to improve the scope for diversification of crops, crop diversification. And moreover, one more objective is to ensure better quality of crops. And the last one is that chemical fertilizers also harm the environment. So last objective is also environmental considerations. So India's objective is that we must improve our natural farming, agricultural practices, and we must bring in natural farming. Okay. Now, what has government done to in this regard? Government has given so much impetus, like number one, 10,000 rupees, loans of up to 10,000 lakh crores are promised in the Kisan credit cards. Now only Kisan credit card scheme will be having 10,000 lakh crores, and it has been given to farmers for farming and allied activities, including stocks and fisheries. Okay, for farming and allied activities like fishing, also livestock management also. Okay, then GST on biofertilizers has also reduced. Okay, second, GST on biofertilizers. These are government measures. Fertilizers has also been reduced. Okay, then what else has been done? Then also under PM Kisan, 18,000 rupees, Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi, PM Kisan. Under this 18,000 rupees, sorry, 6,000 rupees are being transferred to the accounts of farmers. Okay, and how much money has been disbursed so far? 18,000 crores have been allocated for Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi. Okay, and also natural farming is being, Indian Council of Agriculture Research has been told as, ICR has been told that you must go for research and development. Huge expenditure is allocated for research and development also in Indian Council of Agriculture Research to promote natural farming. I hope it is clear to all of you. So this was one more important article. Yesterday, I gave you one important news that Supreme Court has struck down the provision of post facto clearance, environmental clearance, post facto environmental clearance to projects in 2000 in May to, on 16th May 2025. Okay, this post facto environmental clearance was basically dropped by Supreme Court, but yesterday in a day before yesterday in a decision, it has again been brought back. Okay, that post facto environmental clearance can be given. Why? Because if you don't give environmental clearances to the projects which have already been built, which include so many airports and also other bigger projects, there will be demolitions and huge amount of money, approximately to the tune of 20,000 crores will be lost. Okay, so therefore Supreme Court said that we have brought this post facto clearance, but it must not be used as a routine. It must be used only in exceptional circumstances. Only in exceptional circumstances post facto clearance can be given. Otherwise, what happens actually, the basic objective of environmental clearance gets defeated. What is the basic objective of environmental clearance? That any project which is to be started, environmentalists must analyze the project, and then analysts must give a clear opinion whether this object is environmental friendly or not, and what corrective measures can be done. Now, if you are giving post facto environmental clearance, you have no option of demolition, you have no option of environmental assessment, and if there has been loss to environment, only you can do now compensation approach. You can give compensation to the environmental agencies. Okay, now in India there are two parent acts, which is Environmental Protection Act of 1986, which deals with environmental governance, and there is Environmental Impact Assessment Notification. This notification was in 1990s, but the latest version of this notification was issued by Ministry of Forest, Environment and Climate Change in 2006. This environmental impact assessment notification says that whenever you have to start a project, a thorough environmental impact assessment needs to be done before the project is put into place. Get the point? So many cases are there in which Supreme Court has held that post facto clearances were not permissible, where the clearance was compulsory. Like, I will give you two important cases. One is common cause case of 2017. You must remember, in the common cause case of 2017, and one more case is there that is called as Alembic Pharmaceuticals 2020. Alembic Pharmaceuticals. Alembic Pharmaceutical case of 2020, sorry, Alembic Pharmaceuticals. One case, second case. In both these cases, what Supreme Court said, that it is very, very important to give environmental clearances. Prior environmental clearances are required. Okay, post facto environmental clearances shall not be given in cases where environmental clearances were required. If they have not taken environmental clearances, no, you should not give them post facto environmental clearance. Means you should not give environmental clearance after the fact, after they have built the project. But again, then there was one case, that is One Shakti case of 2020. One Shakti case, okay. One Shakti. Another case, I am writing it separately because it has a separate message. One Shakti case. In One Shakti case, Supreme Court said that environmental clearances can be given. But then this was struck down by Supreme Court, and recently it has been brought. Again. Okay. Now, why in One Shakti case, the post facto environmental clearances have been struck down? Why? Because it said that when environmental clearance is not given, how come the project has been built? If it has been built after harming the environment, go for its demolition. This was earlier stance. Latest stance, the day before yesterday, Supreme Court said that impose penalties, take penalty routes, impose penalties, and then only you do one thing, give them environmental clearance, because demolition is not an issue. But Supreme Court also alarmed the government that this shall be used as an exception, not a regularity. You should not regularly give post facto environmental clearances. Okay. Now, this is all you need to understand about post facto environment clearances. Now, another important topic is care economy. Now, you must have understood one important thing here, that whatever knowledge you gain in today's newspaper, tomorrow's newspaper will enhance that knowledge. And 2-3 days, one topic will be out of discussion. Now, the special intensive revision of Election Commission is still in news because so many block level officers, booth level officers are committing suicide. So, whatever news related to that, if any new point comes up, I will discuss. If new point does not come, only substantiating facts are there in the news, you must read them. Like today also, regarding West Bengal, there is one news about the special intensive revision. Like one booth level officer has also committed suicide, died of cardiac arrest. But suicide in Kerala, one booth level officer, due to huge pressure of the special intensive revision. Okay, now I will discuss one more article, that is care economy. Even there was a question on this. Care economy. What is care economy? Care economy is basically the that aspect of economics, that aspect of economics which deals with domestic work, domestic work, that is unpaid care work performed by women. Okay, it is basically related to domestic work with respect to care of children, old age, different specially abled people, etc. This is what is discussed in care economy. Okay. Now, care economy basically in India, what we have been found that Indian women have basically 84% of the total time devoted to care work. Okay, 84% of total time to care work by Indian women. This was earlier finding. Latest, there is one time use survey. I will give you the data of that. Indian women. But please understand, there are problems in this care economy or care work. What are the problems? Number one, unpaid work. This is unpaid work. Not only unpaid work, it is also unrecognized work. We don't even recognize what women and what mothers are doing at home. This is unpaid work. This is unrecognized work. And there is no robust policy on care work. Only one robust policy in India, which was launched in 1975, that is Integrated Child Development Scheme under Ministry of Women and Family Welfare. Okay, so Integrated Child Development Scheme is only the scheme which is there, or Integrated Child Development Scheme. Okay, now this is also against the Sustainable Development Goals. Sustainable Development Goal 5 says that end all form of discrimination, gender discrimination. Sustainable Development Goal 5 says that discrimination shall be ended in all forms. But what is this? Isn't it a discrimination of highest kind? Isn't it the discrimination of elite kind? Okay, so why unpaid work, maternal work are not recognized? That's why the care economy in India has always remained in the form of hidden care economy. Indian care economy has been called as hidden care economy. Okay, hidden care economy. Okay, now there was one discussion and Beijing platform of 1995 was brought out for recognition of the domestic work by women. Okay, Beijing platform for action. Please remember, sometimes the question in prelims, that Beijing platform for action is related to what? It is in 1995 it was brought out, a global initiative for recognizing care work, for recognizing the care work. Get the point? Okay. Now we have seen that because of this non-recognition, non-payment, we have been suggested a 3R strategy. 3R strategy for women. First of all, reduce. First of all, recognize. Recognize that women are doing a splendid job in care economy. Then reduce the burden, because why should they take, it is 4% of the burden. Okay, then reduce the burden. Okay, and then also redistribute. Please share this burden among the males also, among other agencies of the state also. Therefore, a care diamond was suggested. Care diamond was suggested that there shall be a role of all the agencies. Okay, role of all the agencies. Okay, please remember, these such things make your answers very beautiful. Okay, first of all, families and households must play a key role in recognizing the care workers. Okay, then state nation must recognize and draft policies for care workers. Okay. Then NGOs shall also do the awareness activity. Do the awareness activity among the masses. Okay. And then markets shall also realize the values of the care works, and then the unpaid work shall not be unpaid work shall not be kept. Unpaid work shall not be kept there. Okay. So this is all you must understand about the care diamond which has been suggested. Now, United Nations General Assembly has adopted a resolution to declare 29th of October. In United Nations General Assembly, it has adopted a resolution. Okay. The resolution says that 29th of October shall be declared as International Day for Care and Support. International Day for Care and Support. International Day for Care and Support. It means this is one step towards recognition of the care work. It is one step towards recognition of the care work. Okay. Women, adolescent girls do a lot of care work. Okay. But this has to be recognized also. Okay. Like India recognized this, and Integrated Child Development Scheme in India was launched in 1975. Today, this is one of the world's largest scheme which focuses on nutrition, engagement, caretaking of children and pregnant and lactating women. Through Anganwadi centers. Okay, 1.4 million Anganwadi centers have been established across India, serving 23 million children. Okay, 1.4 million Anganwadi centers serving around 23 million children. These data give, authenticity to whatever you are writing in the examination. Okay. Whatever you are writing in the examination, these data give authenticity to those points which you write in the examination hall. Okay. So also, what else has been done? Anganwadi workers and helpers have been appointed, but you see their salaries. Okay, around 2.4 million Anganwadi workers and helpers have been appointed. Okay. And these 2.4 million Anganwadi workers and helpers, but they are very least paid. Their wages are less than the daily wages of the people in the country. Get the point? Sorry for the interruption. Okay. So this is all you need to know about the care workers and why they shall be recognized. Okay. What is the current situation of these Anganwadi workers and helpers? Least paid means their work is undervalued. What our vision is? What do we say? We say that they are doing nothing. Just they are taking care of the children. Taking care of the children is too bigger an issue. Okay. So also they don't have any social security. They don't get any benefits, any career progression. So this is the problem with the India's care economy and care sector. Okay. Now overall, recently I was telling you that I will give you a data of time use survey. Okay. Time use survey. This is a survey which usually highlights how much time who uses and in which area. Time use survey of 2024 says that women spend over 7 hours daily. Women 7 hours daily in unpaid domestic work. Unpaid domestic works. Average. Gender discrimination. Whereas compared to that, men spend only approximately 2 hours. Why this discrimination? Why are we not trying to end the discrimination? Okay, so therefore, various campaigns have also been done at the global level. Moreover, in the child care, we spend only around 0.4% of our GDP. 0.4% of GDP is spent for child care. Child care is very, very important. The more better child care we do in the early childhood, the better quality of child confidence, better quality of healthy life we can expect of a children. Like Scandinavian countries, in Scandinavian countries including these Finland, Sweden, Denmark, they spend approximately 1 to 1.5% of their GDP. That's why you'll find great level of happiness there, huh? Scandinavian countries spend around 1 to 1.5% of GDP on care work. Okay, in India, what is required? We also required to spend more than 1% of our GDP for care economy. Okay, on this domestic work, I got an idea that what mothers do for us. Okay, basically, we will never realize that how mothers wonderfully work for us every morning, every evening and day they are working. Even when we are not with them, they are still working in the form of prayers which they give to their children, You get the point? So therefore, don't you ever forget to give credit to your mom and respect your mom and do whatever you can do for your mother. Why? Because she has also done so many things for you. Right from the beginning, when you were in the womb, she carried you for 9 months, bear unlimited pain during parturition to bring you back on this earth. Bring you on this earth. Okay, when you came to this earth, she started sleeping on the wet beddings which you used to drain every night with your urine. Okay, then throughout your childhood, she took care of each and everything. She made sure you remain healthy. She made sure that you get properly groomed. When you grow adult, when you grow up, you went to school. She took care of your uniforms, your books, everything. When you went into the profession, even some mothers in professional life give lunch to their children, and then timely they call them and ask them to have lunch on time. This is what mothers are all about. Mothers are purely about love, empathy. So better you take care of your mothers. Okay. Some people say that when mothers fear that after marriage their son may change. It is not the fear that their son may change. They know their son will not change. What is the fear? The fear is that the son may not take care of himself as mother has taken care. So better to respect your mothers. Always. Don't forget to respect your mom. Okay. Yeah. So back from the care economy. Okay. So now I will be taking another important article which is related to an economic ideology of democratic socialism. What is democratic socialism? First of all, what is socialism? Socialism is a socio-economic ideology which says that all the means and modes of production shall be decentralized, not concentrated in few hands, and they shall be owned by people. Or at the max, instead of people, state can act as a trustee and own the means and modes of production so that there will be equitable distribution. Okay, this is what Zoran Mamdani, the New York mayor-elect, has given in his speeches. He has consistently said that we need basically basic amenities. We need equitable distribution of wealth. We need to remove poverty, we need to go for basic necessities. And same values are penetrating into the United States, which actually claims to be a capitalist economy. Get the point? Okay, there was one president, there was one contender for presidential candidate. His name is Bernie Sanders. Okay, Bernie Sanders also in the campaign has said that we need to bring in social democracy in the country. Democracy we have. Democracy means when people choices are working. Even in Scandinavian countries like Denmark, Iceland, Finland, Norway, Sweden, they are having a blend of capitalism as well as socialism. Get the point? So what democratic socialism means? It does not has a universal definition, but yeah, typically its proponents say that government can control over certain sectors. Democratic socialism promotes government's control over few sectors. Which sectors? Government's control is propounded like public utilities, healthcare sector, education, etc., etc. Okay, public utilities, healthcare, then also education. Now in United States of America, if you see, these things have penetrated into the American life also. Okay, all social security, minimum wage laws, etc., etc. Social security, minimum wage laws, these are also there in USA. Now the latest trend is that we are not going towards capitalism anymore. Rather, we are going for a mix of both capitalism and socialistic values. Okay, Robert Archer is one economist who has said economic democracy is the feasible form of socialism. By economic democracy, he means firms should operate within the market, but they shall be managed by workers. Okay, so Robin Archer, okay, says economic socialism, which says that firms should operate in markets but managed by workers. Means workers should have the right to manage the firms according to their principles. In the same way, Thomas Piketty has given the idea of participatory socialism. Socialism in which participation of people is also there. Okay, like in education and in wealth distribution, etc., etc. Get the point? So this is all you need to know about today's news items in the Hindu. Presidential reference I will discuss tomorrow. Why presidential reference? And because today it has been come up for hearing, and tomorrow there may be a better article regarding presidential reference. So tomorrow I will be discussing the presidential reference. I will analyze what Supreme Court will take today, whether it will again say that it will give opinions to the president and they are binding or not, and what about the governors who have been bound by Supreme Court to give decisions within 3 months. Okay, so I will take up these articles tomorrow. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll come up tomorrow with the another set of articles from the Hindu. Okay, if you only read this much, whichever I teach in the class, I am sure this is more than sufficient for your current affairs preparation. Okay, thank you so much for joining me.